Hey, you guys, Drew Piddle on this Targeted Citizen. Hope you're having a good day. We're out in the camper today doing a little camper renovation. I have officially gone deep. As if ripping all the flooring out and replacing part of it, cutting the walls, taking walls down, as if taking all the sink and all out. That's not very deep. That's not deep enough. Then I took all this out. And then I went to the back. As you can see, I went to the back. Went all the way back here, and all the back walls were completely disconnected because I had to meet in the middle for the slide out. So all that completely disconnected, as you can see. Because why? Because those braces on the outside of the wall are rotten too. Everything on that side, both the corners is rotten. You couldn't tell it from the inside because they patched it. They patched it, and in that back corner there, it was inside the shower wall. So the shower covered up a lot of the damage. So I was trying to come around this corner here to hit this so I can get this runner done. Well, this little piece right here is called the ski. That white Teflon is called the ski. So this plywood pulls up and it goes over the ski. Well, this is what we're in now. This is just, oh my gosh, there's a light on. Wow, I didn't know that. Look, the light's on and the refrigerator's on. I got the battery charger on it just because I could run this thing back and forth. And look, the power works. Weird, I know. Cool. But here's where we're at. I cut out the rot on both sides. Yeah. That's how far, and when that was collapsed there, the whole thing was breaking down in the middle. So I guess to fight that, they adjusted this all the way up so it's tilted back. And it should never be tilted back from the outside like that. They did that, I don't know, I guess it's probably done from the factory like that. But I still got to get the bolts out from this side and cut that off. The bolts out from that side, cut it off because I'm not going to replace that whole piece. If you look how thick that thing is, that's an inch thick. So I'm just going to put, I'm going to take two half-inch pieces of plywood and drill them together and then slide them in that slot, and then I'll connect it even more underneath. I hope I can connect it underneath. I ain't sure exactly how I'm going to splice that together yet. What I may have to do is put a piece in, drill it in, and then put another piece over top of it. That way it holds it. But this is the piece that came out from underneath there. I'm just learning as I go, guys. Now, let me tempt the trolls. Have they ever taken on a project like this? Would anybody take on a project like this? I doubt it. It would have been very simple, and still would be easy right now for me to just rip the top off this thing, weld a fifth wheel on the front, and make a car hauler out of this thing. This make an awesome car hauler because it is absolutely strong enough, and it's got trailer brakes. So this thing will make it awesome. You could probably get, if I just left one level, I could probably get 3 cars on this trailer, and those are going for about 20 grand right now. 20 grand would be really nice in my pocket. That would be really nice in my pocket. So I don't know why I'm doing this. I just don't know. In life, when you're dependent on the Lord and you're living by faith, you just got to take what gets left in your lap. I pray, I go out and bless somebody, God blesses me back, and then I run with what I got. I pray about what I'm doing and say, hey, this is the right way to go. I don't have the money to start my houseboat. I need at least a minimum of $1,000 in my pocket, and that's paying $300 for the place and then having $1,000 in my pocket to get started on my houseboat. And really, this is going to teach me a little bit more. Not that I don't know what I'm doing, but just learning the ins and outs of these things. The basic repair to do what I'm doing on this slide out, that's about anywhere from $2,800 to $5,000 that I'm doing right here. That's crazy them guys make that kind of money. But, I mean, it's well worth it because, unfortunately for me, and not those guys, is I've got to crawl and literally lay in mud underneath this camper. Literally lay in mud to fix this thing. But that's what I got to do. These little rechargeable saws are junk. They don't have enough power to cut through this stuff at all. So what I'm going to probably have to do is fire up, get my chainsaw chain tightened, and then I got to sharpen it, and then I got to use my chainsaw to come and cut these correctly, and then come back in and use the wood I've got in the building. That nice, now remember I bought 4 sheets of that real nice plywood, 3/4 inch. I'll probably have to use it to patch this in. But the biggest problem was this right here is rotting out. And this right here is rotted out. There's nothing for it to sit on. So this whole front just collapsed in. So you see how far I've got it braced up? And it's still low. See, I can still push back just a hair. See how much farther it can go? So I built that all up, and once I got this built up, I tried to bring it in, and it was so broke down in the front corners, it would come up on the ski and lock in and it wouldn't move any farther. So I had to just stop what I was doing right then and there, back up, regroup, and find a different way to do it. So that's what led me to tearing this whole ski apart. This thing, nothing goes as it seems like it should go. I should have done another piece on the back side of this board, on this stud. I should have had another piece behind it. That way it could better screw into it. Because this right here, there's a little bit of lip there. Yes, under the ski. But I've got to have that level and even all the way across. And as you can see, it's hard to do that. I pulled the other side out, the bracing on the other side, because it pulled itself out when I tried to retract it in because that side was so far broken. I was trying not to have to fix that. I was hoping if I just reinforced back here where the ski slid at, I thought that would bring it up level enough, but it's not going to. And the way they've got this thing, there's adjusters on the outside of the slide out, and they've got to adjust it all the way up. So that's why it's tilted in like this right here. Well, with tilted in like this, all the water's flooding in. Now, I can assume they did that to take up the slack from where it had fallen in here, because it's fallen in, but they went the opposite way. Instead of bringing it down on the outside, they brought it up, which put more weight down here in this little fulcrum here, in this little point of contact. So if you understood all the stuff that I just said, then you're a smart person. Anyway, I've got to remanufacture that piece right there, because you see it is rotten on the corners, on the front corner and the back corner. So all this right here is going to have to be, I got to remanufacture all this. That piece right here, I probably have to take all that off. All that will probably have to come off and me build another piece over it. As you can see, I cut back in two, and there's, that's a little 1x2 there. And then this right here is just a little cheap press board. So what I'll have to probably do is take that whole piece back off and remanufacture that whole thing. And what I'll probably do is just use plywood, the actual real hardwood plywood. What I may do is use what I cut out, because not all of it was rotten. You see how thick that piece of wood is? That's huge, man. That's a thick piece of wood. But once it gets wet, that's press board. Once it gets wet, it's ruined. I wish that I had enough of the water resistant stuff in my building that's for my houseboat. I wish I had enough of that I could use on this, because it's water resistant. But before this even goes in, I'm going to make sure that it is stained, polyurethane, and it's going to have a plastic wrap all the way around it, because here on this right here, on the outside, the ends are just left open. So the ends are left open, the water drains down the top, and it seeps right in, and once it starts seeping in, it's ruined. It's just shot. It's just the dumbest design. So what I'll do, where there's no protection under that, is I've got that metal out there. It's like a 3x3 angle, real thin stuff, but I'm going to take it, drill it into the side and underneath, and then I'll caulk the heck out of it, so then no wood is actually exposed. It'll all be completely covered. So this is just a weak design. They just try every year with these campers. I've learned that they try something new that they think they can save money on. If they would have built this thing right, it would. I guess the only way I can describe it is they should have used 300 2x4s, and instead they used 5, and they just whacked them up and did it like that. It's the hokiest trash I've ever seen. It's hokey. It's just unbelievable how. I can't believe they get. I don't know how these things survive being put out on the highways and people driving these things down the road thousands of miles to camp in them. I guess they just don't survive. They eventually rip themselves apart. Even back there at the top, the metal framing doesn't even go all the way to the top, I don't think. I mean, maybe it does, but still, that's 1x1 hollow aluminum. Aluminum on some. This is steel on this, but 1x1 hollowed steel. And that's the structure for the building. That's it. And then it's got a 1x1 piece of wood that goes down behind it. So there's nothing that's got any strength to it whatsoever. But they have to minimize price. So they have to maximize all the pieces they have to make it work. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how much junk that they sell in America. But at least they are still made in America. I would like to meet those guys and give them a piece of my mind, but I don't think they could. I don't think that they could handle the. I don't think they could handle the brain power that I've got compared to what they're having to do. God forbid, man, I would never, ever recommend somebody buying one of these. It's easier to go out and buy a trailer and build your own tiny house on it. I mean, it's easier and it's cheaper to do it yourself. I mean, you could make one out of that metal building that I got out there. You could rip this off and just weld the frame and put it all together yourself. I could have done that easier. Not cheaper, but I could have ripped this stuff off the frame and done that myself, as opposed to fixing this thing. That's how hokey it is. But this is what we do. This is what we do, and the rest of your life's been ripped apart. I'm Stuart Pedalong, the most targeted. God bless. Hit the subscribe button. Really? No subscriptions here for the last 2 months? It hasn't went anywhere? Hit the like button, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe. Come on, this is good content. I'm teaching you guys, if you ever get in one of these things, I can give you answers. I can tell you, hey, this is built like this. This is what you need to do to fix it. This is good information, like always, that you get right here on my channel. More information coming up. Be prepared. Be prepared. I should put this in the video, but I will. Be prepared. There's going to be a false flag, either mass shooting or a firebombing of voting centers. Be ready for it. The voting centers in Texas, the election judges just had a firebombing and a quote-unquote mass casualty event that they're training the election judges in Texas in. So this will be all over America. They're training them in mass violence scenarios because of perpetrated by the far right. So be ready. You're going to hear it in the media. Listen, and what they're going to do, and the reason for this, they're going to say, our elections are not safe. Our electors, the people at the election booths, they're in danger, so we have to outlaw all in-public voting. It's just too dangerous. We need to do it all online. We need to do it all by mail. Haven't they already did the most write-in, mail-in stuff last time around? How did that work out? How did that work out? That's what's going to happen again. God bless.